Good morning and welcome to successcafe.tv. Strange to be doing this on a Wednesday.
Yeah,
But,
what is that? Success
yeah, I
Cafe
know.
on
We
TV on
switched it
Wednesday.
round this week. We're switching back next week, so we'll be back to Monday. But anyway, it's been a really good week. So my name's Paul Bursey. I'm with
Warren Conley, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. And if
and,
you're catching this late, good evening.
yeah, and we're going to get going straight away. Now, the headline this week is what do people need to change and improve to succeed? So we'll basically, we can relate it to anything, but we're going to base it to elite sports in general, business, entrepreneurship. Okay, we'll keep it down to that because you could go across everything and we don't want to. So 3 questions that you should be asking yourself. What am I struggling with? Okay, and we talk about training and learning business. What do you want in life? And what's going to help you to change?
Mm-hmm.
So, what are people struggling with, do you think, Warren?
In general, I think people are confused. There's so much information out there. So people are struggling with confusion. But no, it's what direction to take, I think. I think a lot of people, their struggle is what direction to take.
Okay. We don't struggle with that, do we?
Not
We know our
particularly-
direction.
Yeah, we know our direction. Yeah.
Like, funny enough, I was going to say this at the end, but I want to say it now, if I can find it. I listened to this earlier and I thought this sounds great, but I've got the wrong bit of paper, so it's not on there. Don't know where I've written it. Yeah? Oh yeah, I found it. Right, it's something I wrote down earlier, and I've got to read it off this card. Take the complex, make it simple, and then execute. And that is what we should be doing. Once you've found what it is that you want to do, a lot of it, our minds make it complex. A lot of the complexity comes from the people maybe trying to teach you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this is the same for coaches as well as the student, the athlete, or whatever it may be. But take the complex, make it simple, and then go bang. Right? Execute.
That immediately reminds me of Post-its.
Oh, Post-it note. No, this is, it's a...
No, but that immediately reminds me of that. Yeah, it was a complex thing to begin with in terms of leaving messages and reminders and things like this. Especially in that day and age, right? Before mobile phones and all this. Somebody made it really simple, created Post-its.
It was actually, they actually came across Post-it notes, which is a brilliant invention, but it was made by mistake.
Yeah, I think I did read that once before.
What happened? I think the fellow who invented it was trying to find something that never ever came unstuck.
Okay.
And on his journey to that, he came up with something that didn't stick all the time. And he thought, what can I do with it? And that's how the Post-it notes came, as far as I'm aware.
You say that. I used to be involved with a company, a very big company in our industry that provides a product. It's a powder that helps with heart regenerating. So when you sleep at night, you take this product, and then it helps with people that have got heart conditions or even people with healthy hearts.
What about sleep apnea? Because that's a bit getting on those lines, isn't it?
What about it?
Well, because it's something to do with the breathing and stop starting and things like that.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, but this particular product was developed for people with specific heart conditions, okay, or otherwise for people to keep their hearts healthy. And along the lines of developing that, they stumbled upon the formula for Viagra. So they actually won. They won. I think they won a Nobel Prize for that, for the development of Viagra, if I'm not mistaken. The scientists that were working on this other product, and then they ended up developing the other product, which became very successful in its own right. But Viagra was an accident, if you want to say, for choice of a better term. But yeah, it was an accident.
It's a very simple thing for that. It works, but read the bit of paper that comes in the packet.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. It's okay.
No, with any form of pharmaceuticals, they put a little bit of paper in there that tells
Oh,
you
yes.
everything that can go wrong.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Especially
This
today.
product can kill you. Really?
Okay.
What a way to go. Anyway, okay, so success in general in almost any endeavor is made possible by workable factors. What do you think some of those factors are? These things are the things that we can tweak, we can change or improve. So, what would be top of your list?
Skill set.
Yeah, that's number 4 on mine. But yeah, definitely practice. Practice is practice, and then becoming skillful is definitely on the first page without a shadow of a doubt. Mindset's number 1. You've got to start off with the right mindset, and you've got to adopt it and work with it. Without mindset, you've got nothing else, as they say. Because nothing else is going to happen. Because most people moan about life in general and things that go wrong. And I've been there. I've moaned about things before. Even last year, I've moaned about some things that are not working, and I've just completely changed now. And I try to eliminate 99.9% of all moaning. Things like that.
Good. Because moaning really doesn't. All it does is it keeps your mind off the things that are important, right? You keep focusing on the stuff that is lacking in your life. It doesn't exist.
You change what you say. You basically say, "I'm going to tweak it and make it better."
Yeah.
So that's that. Focus is another one. You've got to give your passion, whatever it is we're talking about here, whatever is the passion or the project that you've got to inject a lot of passion into that project. And the only way to do that is to focus on it.
And what does focus come from? Mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it comes from a little bit of discipline and a lot of mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So
the right mindset, that is.
Yeah, the correct mindset. Yeah, absolutely. And the next thing, and I'll keep this on the move, but it's persistence. You've got to be able to pursue something. You've got to keep, as I say, I call it tweaking. I use that word a lot, but it's keep nipping away at doing it and finding better ways of doing it. And it's very easy to lose the power of persistence, and the thing that does that is distractions.
Yes, especially.
Yeah, and I'm the world's worst for distractions, but I'm gradually eliminating them. There's some big ones. There's some big distractions.
And I think this is probably one of the biggest challenges that people face these days is the distraction part. As I mentioned, as I touched on just now, there's so much information, people are confused, so they get distracted by things. And I'm to blame for this as well, because I have so many interests. I enjoy so much subject matter that I want to absorb so much, but not all of it serves me for what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff that I'm very passionately interested in and focused on, and I would love to be able to share more information relating to that, doesn't serve me right now. So I've got to keep my focus, and that dovetails from the consistency, the focus, and then the mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we previously mentioned, the amount of practice that you're prepared to adopt and dedicate yourself to, so that it's a bit like playing golf. There's only, you got to have the right mindset before you start. All right. And that's very important because, and I'll tell you, and it's like tennis as well, because you see players like John McEnroe, they used to lose their temper and all that. Okay. And they destroy their own game a lot of the time. He probably was the only one that can actually get away with it. But generally, if you went down that route, you destroy your game. Yeah. So you've got to look at tennis or golf as the next shot. So you take a shot, muck it up, as we all do. Forget it. Move on. The next shot that you do is completely new. You can't bring the old into that. You've got to learn, and you can analyze afterwards after the game.
But from a business perspective, like if I'm in the process of reaching out to people, and that I'm communicating with different people, and I'm setting up meetings or calls and things like this, and if one of them doesn't go right, I ask myself the question, what could I have done better in that situation?
Yeah.
And so when I move to the next one, I forget about the previous one. All I'm focusing on is what are the skill sets that I can improve that would help me for the next one. And that helps me keep my focus. That helps me stay consistent. And that helps my mindset to remain where it should be.
Yeah, I'm not being funny. In our line of business, which I'm not going to go into, we've only got probably about half a dozen things that we need to be skillful in.
Yeah, true. Not even.
And really, maybe a couple of them are ones that we don't have to work on all the time, but maybe the first 3 or 4. So then you bring the complex down to more simple things, and then when if you take number 1, right? I'm not going to go into them, but if you take number 1, it's very, very simple. You can break it down to 1 or 2 words, even. And that's how. Because when you start something new, it's like something comes on top of you. It's like this big pressure, this big. I've got to learn everything. I've got to do this. Got to do that. No, you haven't. One thing. Learn one thing. Become good at that, and then move on to number 2. Once you've cracked it.
And this is also where I believe that these 4 points that we've touched on so far. 4. Yeah, I got to get it right. Okay, these 4 points we've touched on so far will help most entrepreneurs, because they forget that when they start their own business or their own side hustle or something like that along those lines, and they're not working as an employee anymore, or maybe they are working as an employee, but they want to do something else for themselves and create that additional income stream for themselves. They forget that when they started their job, even if they went to university and studied university for 3-4 years, that's very different to coming into the job scene. You don't know anything. You know very little. The stuff that you learned at university, by the time you come into the workforce, is for the most part, it's outdated already. All right, that information. So especially in today's economy, because it's exponentially growing in all sectors. So people forget that they don't have to know it all. You just got to know a little bit about who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. And then what is the big goal for you in starting up a business for yourself, and then be willing to learn as you go along. Be willing to just learn step by step, one bite at a time. Okay. And I think this is where people do get.
Yeah, you can't. It's funny because I did 33 years in the police, and then when you do your 16-week training, you have to pass exams on law and procedure and all this type of thing. Okay, you do need all that, and then you go to your first police station, and they take you what they call puppy walking, which means you go out with someone else. Okay, and yes, there are certain things you learn. You learn where to duck and dive and go for cups of tea and things like that.
Yeah.
Where you can get something a little bit cheaper and things, but that's all part of the game. But what you learn, the only time you really learn is when you're on your own. You're thrown in at the deep end, and they don't teach you hardly. They don't teach you anything. So you either sink or swim.
And I think because in the police force, it is so there's no 2 police officers' experiences are the same.
No, that's right. That's right.
And because it's life, you're dealing with life. But
one thing you do, and I will recommend this book to you, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I read that I was in the police about 5 years before I read that book. And that's, I would say, is the book that made me into the policeman I was.
Okay.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Because it teaches you how to talk to people and what the ways to go about things. So that didn't come from my job. That came from the USA. So, but that was fantastic. But I mean, going back to some of the things that we need to do, we do need to discipline ourselves. I know it's not a very nice word, discipline. It makes you think of school and getting whacked on a hand with a ruler or something, And like we did, And
I think discipline. That's what I think. I think
Yeah.
discipline. I think military. I think school.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not
Yeah, I think
necessarily
discipline should be number one, as long as it's done with the right mindset. Because you do have people that give the discipline that are maybe not the best people to give discipline. But you do learn from it.
even to themselves, Paul. Even
Yeah, I know.
even to themselves, people that give discipline to themselves because their mindset is not in the right place to begin
Yeah,
with. So
that's right.
they end up being so hard on themselves and they're not forgiving to themselves, and then that mindset plays games with them, and then it's just detrimental and doesn't
Yeah, that's
serve
right. It
them.
does work against you if you get it wrong. But
Yeah.
what I suppose is a better word for it, if we're in business, is stickability.
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 There's the
right?
post it again.
Yeah. And constancy as well, about striving towards your goals. You've really got to stick at it. At it, do it, learn, tweak, move on, keep reviewing, and keep changing it around. But don't stop. That's the other thing. The other added thing as well is bounce back ability. Things are going to go wrong. I don't care if it's being a police officer, running a business, being an athlete, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. Things will go wrong. You need to overcome hurdles, smash through brick walls, and any obstacles. There's going to be obstacles in your way. I mean, there are one or two obstacles in the way that I didn't like, so I avoided them. But in the end, I had to come back and deal with it.
And remind yourself, how many times in your life have you managed to overcome obstacles that you couldn't foresee?
Yeah, loads of times.
Yeah.
I mean, loads of times, from what I can remember of, for me, but not me. I mean, as I say, it all depends on your attitude. If your attitude's great, then you overcome obstacles much easier. You say, look, I'm going to do it. Just do it. Get on with it. There was one thing that I left for a few years. And in the end, once I cracked it, I went, I'm actually enjoying it now. And you think about things in the wrong way. Try and avoid things. It's like there's always that one or two things that you need to clear up. They'll be put on the back burner.
Who was it that was it Eric Worre? Or for those folks that don't know, there was one of the top trainers in our industry was actually saying, and because I know like someone like Eric Worre, he's a situational introvert. Okay, so he's not a typically extroverted type person, but if you look at him today, he's very successful and everything like that. However, I think it was him that was saying that he used to be terrified of making phone calls, phoning people, like cold calling, for example, or people that he knew. Until when he started to have successes with it, and he started to feel that energy, and I get goosebumps thinking about that, started feeling that energy around having those successes with making those phone calls. He couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah, I was the same. I hate it. When the first few calls I made, it was though you're sweating. You don't want to pick it. You try and hide your prospect list in a book somewhere so you can't see it. And I've done it thousands and thousands of times, and not for a few years, but it soon cures you of that. And now I look forward to. I love picking the phone up and speaking to people, but it's only practice. It really is only practice. It's one of those things. So the next thing was your physical fitness, exercise, your nutrition, all those type of things we talk about, on healthylife.tv. You've got to take care of those things, because if you want to be vibrant, and have a bit of pizzazz in your business and that, then you need to be fit. If you're not going to take care of those, I can tell you how successful you're going to be. Not very.
Well, at least not for the long term.
Not for the long term. You can have the initial bit.
You're going to burn out quickly.
Absolutely.
It's funny you should say that. I just did an article on a post on LinkedIn because I read an article about the next big thing in the USA in the corporate world is movement. Okay.
What's that?
movement for me is like,
yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
That means nothing to me. Movement is being able to get up off your chair and go to the kitchen or go to the bathroom and get out of bed in the morning. That's movement, just moving slightly. So for me, it's more about mobility, your health in general. How are you able to move your body, or how is your body able to be moved? But it's ironic that we should be talking about this, because just this morning I read an article about that. It was on LinkedIn, and then I wrote a post, not in response to that, but I wrote a separate post about what would you choose to have the ability to do, move or mobility? Because for me, that's what is more important. And mobility is an aspect of your health. If you're able to move your body properly, you're healthier than the person next to you if all they can do is move.
Motion is emotion.
Motion is emotion. True.
Yeah, movement. That's right. If you sit there like a blooming, you just sit there like a vegetable, which is great sometimes if you want to relax and that. But generally speaking, if you sit there, you're not going to get anything done. You've also got to laugh at yourself as well. That's the other thing. If you do something wrong, you just got to laugh about it and move on. Just
as an example, when I was in 2008 to 2009, I was a wellness manager for a very large company in Dubai. Okay, the only reason why I left was because my position was made redundant due to the financial crisis in 2009. But I was overseeing 7 companies as a wellness manager. Okay, and I was working with almost all of those CEOs of those companies, one-to-one, personally. Plus, I was dealing with more than 3,000 employees. But each of those CEOs of those companies and the director of the umbrella company, the holding company, okay, worked one-to-one with me, because they understand the value of being healthy as a top-level manager, as a corporate leader. They understood the value of what it means, why you should be moving, why you should be eating properly, why you should be looking after your health in order to be successful in whatever you are doing, because you carry this around with you. So if this is depleted, if this is toxic, this is not thinking properly. So it's just an example from a personal experience as to how powerful that example is for you, whoever's listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no. So, what is going to move the needle for you? I'm talking about everyone here, and it's the same for us as well. When I say things, it's relating to everyone. What's going to move the needle for you? What is it that you want to do? Do you want to achieve long-term success, and then replicate it across everything you do, all your projects, all your passions, all your even hobbies, and it's all about enjoying yourself. And the only way you're going to do that is to become good at something, And I know there are things that, we try and we think, oh, I'm rubbish at that, which is okay. It's no big deal. And does it matter? If you want to be successful at something, if you want to become a high performer, does it matter what has happened in the past? Does it matter about your personality? It's questionable. Does it matter about your past? Does it matter about your preferences? It doesn't. These things probably don't have a great effect on what you want to do today and tomorrow. And finding what matters for you to get the job done, or whatever, or make it more enjoyable for you. So, would you say it's down to habits?
Oh, key, most definitely. I mean, that's that's almost like a rhetorical question for me.
Yeah, it is a rhetorical question.
Yeah, yeah. Habits are key to everything in life, right? You habitually, you don't one day get out of bed by rolling off the bed. Every day you get out of bed by climbing out the bed or stepping out of your bed. You don't one day roll off the bed, the next day jump out the bed, the next day step out the bed. You create a habit of how you get out of bed in the morning, and that's the same for every aspect of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You don't one day take a bowl of food or plate of food and throw it down your mouth. You eat it with a knife and fork or with your hands, but one bite at a time, right? That's a habit. So yeah.
So the question is, do you need to become a high performer? Now, only you can answer that. And the description of being a high performer is your description.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we are all different. And as you said about being a police officer, everyone's got their own perspective about what being a good police officer is, you know, and it's the same with being a high performer in whatever it is you're doing. Is it important to you to maintain a high level of success? You know, are you on the wane, as it were? You know, are things not working out for you at the moment? Because if you switch businesses, that can happen. You can be really successful at one and absolutely poor at the other or the next one. All right. Do you need some help? Well, we're here to help you if you need that. Okay. What about, I'll say, what about you, Warren? But that came a bit too close to that last question. What are you currently up to? What are you currently doing at the moment? And that's a rhetorical question because I know it. But for the people listening and watching, you know, what are you doing? You know, what are you currently doing in with the physical training side of things?
What are you doing to enrich your mindset every day?
Well, yeah, you've got to do that every day, you know, and but you've got to be, as you say, you mentioned movement earlier. You've got to be doing something, you know, otherwise you're going to be podgy. not only with your down here, but you know, up here as well. You know, you can.
And this reminds me that, you know, we've touched on a few points here, and we're not all of us. Very few of us are going to excel at all of these at one time. So whatever area that you feel that you're lacking in, or you maybe lacking is not the right word either, but where you are slightly less efficient or weaker at, then you want to be honest with yourself about that and start working on that, and then perhaps leave the other stuff aside because you're able to do it. So let's say for example, it's your mindset. Let's say you nag at yourself all day, every day. You complain. You look at the world from a great point of view, great perspective, but you'll have a massive, strong ability for focus, consistency. Your skill set is really high, so you just want to focus on your mindset. Let's work on improving your mindset. The rest of the stuff will take care of itself. Okay, and because you're good at other things, the moment you start getting your mindset right, and all you need is a few tweaks, you're going to notice that that's going to accelerate exponentially as a result of the fact that you are good at other areas. Maybe out of the 5 points, you're only good at 3. So you've got 2 areas to work at. Or maybe you're only good at 2, so you've got 3 areas to work at. That's fine. You can work on those areas where you're slightly weaker. Put your attention and your focus onto that. Okay, and then you work through that. We create a momentum because the others will carry that through. The once you start getting that right, the other areas where you're good already will start to compoundedly carry those other weaker areas forward, and you're going to get stronger much faster. You won't take necessarily as long to get good at something as you did in the past, perhaps. And this is a great way to look at it, I believe. You know, especially, and when you're working with a coach, who can actually help you to see that, it happens so much faster as well, rather than sitting by yourself and trying to think and analyze for yourself. But when you're with a coach, you can see it from the outside and give you objective feedback and help you to discover what it is and what that looks like where you want to move towards. Then you'll notice significant growth in your life.
Absolutely. So just some things to ponder as we finish up here. And 30 minutes is a short one for us. So, but if you start a new project, be conscious of what that project is and what you need to do, and be consistent. Now, the question I would add is, do you set yourself up to win right from day one? you need to speak to someone before you start something. A lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time, to make sure you're not wasting your time, not getting confused, not overwhelming, and just staying on target and making it much, much easier for yourself. It's not going to be easy sometimes, but you can make it easier and less complicated.
Sure.
The second thing is personal and professional routines. You've got to look at that. You've got to organize yourself so you can stay focused, stay energized.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of this sounds quite complicated, but when you strip it down, it's not. Okay? How to stay creative, how to stay productive, how to be effective. They're all important things. We mentioned habits. Look at your habits. What do you start with? What are you going to discard? And what are you going to keep? What's always worked for you? They're things to take. And the last one is reoccurring thoughts and affirmations. The mindset and the words you say to yourself, because they can have devastating effect or they can be really, really effective. So think about what you're saying to yourself. Do you need to do affirmations? Find out what works for you. And that means, I'm healthy and I'm well and moving forward with my business. That's an affirmation. Now, you've got to add a bit of feeling to that as well.
Yeah.
Right? You can't just say it.
Yeah.
It goes back to the movement thing, where you've got to put a lot more into it. And that's really it. I mean, we need to change. We need to improve. We all do. We need that when we start something. And we need to pay attention to what we're doing. And that's it in its simplicity. So with that, I'm done. Warren, do you want to finish this up at all?
No, I said what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
That's as you mentioned earlier, is that we are here to work with you if that's what you are looking for. So, and whether that is from a point of view of a coach working with you, one of us being a coach with you, or as from a business perspective, we're here to work with you and to coach you no matter what. Okay. Whether you work with us as in business or whether you work with us as a client, we're here to coach you, period.
Mm-hmm.
You will be coached as long as that's what you want. And we all need coaching at the end of the day. We all need somebody else to be able to show us a point of view about who we are from a different angle, that we don't clearly see, because we can't see everything about ourselves from all perspectives. Unless we take the time to really delve deep into ourselves and then look at ourselves from those perspectives. But that can take years to happen and to uncover. So that's why a coach is so key.
Absolutely. So, okay, well, we're done here. So we're going to end the broadcast. Have a fantastic rest of the week. And if you need us, give us a shout. Okay. And remember what I said, that thing I said earlier. Take the complex, make it simple, and then execute. And that came from Bedros Keuilian. So, who I listen to all the time. So, fantastic. See you soon.
See you next week, Monday.
Yes. Lovely. See you later. Cheers.